So what is the most important thing? Well, from my experience, the most important thing was to focus on what I actually was as much as possible. Because with that came the understanding of what everything is. So when I come to know what I actually am, and I'm not talking about thinking about it, to actually experience it, then I come to know what everything is as I see clearer and clearer and clearer that I am not something, I'm not a form, I'm not a person. I begin to realize I'm not separate to anything. I might even come to realize that there is nothing else to be separate from. That all of this is me. I'm infinite, I'm everywhere. Or all of this is you. This is you talking to you. You took this shape to help remind yourself. And then you took that shape to help play the game of reminding. And focusing on what everything is actually is really what we're calling meditation, bringing attention to what is real and permanent, unchanging, and always here. And taking attention away from what is temporary, transient, changing, and evolving. Now, that doesn't mean that what is changing, the changeful, is wrong or bad. It just means that when we focus on it, we get more of it. Whatever we focus on or bring attention to in our meditation, then we're going to experience more and more of that. So we know this inherently. We know what happens when we put attention on our mind and it's 50,000 thoughts. We know what happens when we're having a bad day and we focus on that. It just spirals out of control. So could the most important thing then be to bring attention to what is essential, what is real and stable and permanent? So when we're looking at the essence of something, we won't be confused by its shape or by its name that we're giving it. And we won't be able to attach to that name all the things we think about that name. So human beings have learned to quickly assess a situation in terms of physical survival by putting names and labels on things. So this thing I should run away from, and this thing I should run towards. I want to keep this thing. And we have little discrete words and labels that we attach to something. And with that label comes a wanted or not wanted, good or bad label also stuck to it. So that's useful for a while, but actually after a while it begins to really be the issue itself, because to label something like that, we're immediately dividing ourselves into two categories. Our real self, there is only one, and that one is everywhere and is the essence of everything. There is nothing that's different to it. No matter what it looks like, it's really in disguise, this one being. So human beings have gotten so used to that when we look at our world, or our thought, or an emotion, our outer world, or our inner world, we've forgotten how to experience something without the label we put on it. In fact, it's so automatic that when our eyes look at an object, we also have the thought somewhere deep inside, the label, and then any resulting emotions that come from that label. So the label tree, or car, or house, or fear, or awakening, death, birth, all of these have vibrational attachments to them, meanings that we've given them. And really awakening, the most important thing for me in awakening was to learn to experience everything without any labels. They're still here. I can still use those words. But if I can begin to experience the essence of everything by separating the thing itself from the label I've given it with all the meanings, then I'll always be peaceful, because I'll be experiencing the essence of that thing and not the shape and the name I've given it. So the formless comes into a shape and a form, and then we give it a name, like body. And then with that name comes a whole range of extra meanings attached to it. So the moment I buy body, then I also buy birth and death and illness and old age and disease and pain and all of the things that come with that label. But if I'm actually just experiencing what my body actually is in this moment, there's peace, there's quietness. So meditation, contemplation, self-inquiry, at the end of those is this kind of open, ongoing state of awakening, conditioned state, whatever you want to call it, which is really where you don't actually know or want to know what anything is. You're just experiencing the essence of it. You can get a little taste of this right now if you just look around the room that you're sitting in. And as your eyes land upon objects, just pretend that you've never seen it before, that you don't know anything about it. Or pretend somehow that you didn't have access to your thoughts, reference library about what it is, and last time you used it and where you got it and all of that. So just looking at your environment as if it's the first time you've encountered anything. Looking at your body, if you can, looking at your body going, what is this? I've never seen this before. I've only seen what I think about it. Because we can only experience one thing at once. We can experience the essence of something, the formless essence. Or we can experience what we think it is. You can't experience both of those at the same time. So the moment we label something, we miss the experience of it. We miss the full richness of that thing. And some labels are so terrifying that we've come to so fear the label itself, like death and pain and suffering and separation, isolation, loneliness. What if we'd never really experienced those things, only what we think about those things? What if we've never really experienced fear or anger or shame or guilt or sadness or grief without actually labeling it? What if we'd never just felt it? What if we could come to every moment increasingly more and more open from this place of, I don't want to meet the world or myself or anybody from this experience of thinking about whatever we're experiencing. You know, most people are so caught up in what they think is going on that they completely miss reality itself every time. To experience the essence of something is to experience actual reality, not virtual reality, what I think is going on. And my awakening then was and is moving away from labels, not because they're wrong. They're useful concepts to use in conversation or writing or whatever, or when speaking like this. But inside, the essence of everything can be experienced. How do we do that? Just by wanting to find out what it actually is. A deep and rich and abiding curiosity and openness. Try it right now with yourself. just for a moment, take aside all the ideas that you think you know about yourself, how long you've been seeking, which teachers you've been with, how many satsangs you've attended, all of it, how far you've come, what you still need to let go of, what you're hoping to get from this satsang. Just get rid of all of it for a moment, just a moment. You don't have to actually destroy it. Just, I'm not going to the reference library of mind. And then I'm going to ask, without really any preconceived ideas, what actually am I? When I first asked this question, what really am I? Actually, if I don't think about myself, what remains then? Who are you when you don't use thoughts to describe yourself? And perhaps most of us might experience a little confusion. I know I did. And I don't know who I am then without thoughts. Or I don't get an answer to that question. There's no answer to that question. I'm supposed to find out who I am, and there's no answer coming without thoughts. Well, actually, there's no phenomenal answer, no conceptual answer. In the absence of any phenomena, though, there's just this vast, empty nothingness. This space in which phenomenal thought answers would appear. There's the absence of any thingness. There's the nothingness. Just experiencing yourself right now without thinking about what actually am I? And if any fear comes up here, it's only because we've been so conditioned to believe that if we don't think about things, that will cease to exist. Our mind is convinced that if it stops thinking for even a second, it will disappear, which is true. And there's peace. But mind is always disappearing and reappearing. Every time you're engrossed in a movie or a book or listening to me talk, fully listening, there's no thoughts. It's coming and going faster than we're breathing in and out. It does it every night we go to sleep. Mind is gone. In deep sleep, at least. So what actually are you without thoughts? What can you know about yourself? What remains? What do you experience when you don't think? And when you don't reference thoughts? Is there even any need to find anything out without thoughts? So for me, this is a really different experience than I'd ever had before. There is something indescribable about me that I could try to label. I could use words like nothingness, formlessness, and insubstantial, intangible, invisible. They don't really describe it. They kind of describe what it's not. It's formless. I'm intangible. I'm not tangible. You're just experiencing it with me here. What am I when I don't think about me? And this is the direct experience that we're here for in Satsang. I don't know what I am. There's no mind answer, no thought answer to that question, what am I, that's going to satisfy me anyway. But there's something here that's satisfying when I don't reference mind. Again, mind isn't wrong. It's just that when I take my mind's answers about me. I have to experience those. I'm worthy or unworthy. I'm ready or not ready. I'm awakened or unawakened. All of that stuff comes into play. Good and bad, right and wrong. When I actually experience the essence of me by asking, what actually am I? There's a quietness. There's something which is completely full and fulfilled and isn't seeking, isn't suffering, isn't even able to suffer. There's something that when we actually bring attention to the essence of who we are, all of our problems disappear. Even the greatest problem of all, of how to awaken, doesn't really matter here. There's just this that's already free, awakened. And no matter how we think we're approaching it, every authentic spiritual practice is bringing us to this direct experience. This is meditation, bringing attention to what is real and permanent and unchanging. And as we bring attention here more and more and more, we can let mind talk. Mind's talking about what we're experiencing. It's okay. We can just recognize that our body really likes it when we actually experience the essence of something. There's something, your body kind of says yes, doesn't it? When there's an experience of the essence of you rather than the thoughts about you. Again, can only experience what's actually real or what we think is real. Never both at the same time. Can you move through your life then? Can your life be your ashram, your temple, your synagogue, where you decide that you would rather experience what's actually real about everyone and everything? You don't have to get all that done today. You just, whenever your body is giving you this feedback that you're focused on thought answers again, on mind, what you think about something or someone is what you're experiencing, and that you're missing the beautiful being that's standing right in front of you. Or you're missing the beautiful being that's looking back at you in the bathroom mirror. Can you stop at that moment and go, okay, what actually am I when I don't think? I know what it feels like to experience myself through thoughts. It feels tight and contracted and very limiting and quite painful sometimes. What's it like to experience myself and my family and my co-workers and everyone in their satsang and my pets, my friends, the planet, from the direct experience of the essence of those? What's it like to experience fear and shame and guilt and anger from the essence of those? We know what it feels like to think about fear. We've experienced that many times, or anger or grief. Can we be willing to actually find out what the essence of fear is? And if we are, then there's peace at all times available. Peace comes from experiencing the essence rather than the name, the label that we've put on that thing. In this way, the whole phenomenal universe, we can experience it from this quiet place inside where we really do not know what everything is.